Sunlight streamed through the wide kitchen windows, bathing the room in a soft, golden warmth as I idly flipped through the pages of a science journal. Across the counter, my mother, Dr. Anna Parker, moved with her usual precision. Every motion she made was deliberate, controlled, and efficient. That was who she was, brilliant, disciplined, and relentlessly devoted to her research. But today, something was different. There was an energy about her I didn't recognize, lighter, almost buzzing with anticipation. "Josh, could you come here for a moment?" she called, unable to hide the excitement in her voice. I set the magazine aside and joined her, curiosity prickling at the edges of my thoughts. "What's going on, Mom?" She looked at me and smiled, truly smiled. Not the tired, distracted expression I was used to, but a rare, genuine grin that made her eyes shine. "This summer," she said, "you have the opportunity to help me with something extraordinary. A groundbreaking experiment." My heart thumped hard in my chest. Working alongside her had been a lifelong dream. Ever since I was a kid, I'd been fascinated by her pioneering work in genetics and hormonal science. "Really?" I asked, excitement mixing with unease. "What kind of experiment?" She motioned for me to sit, then took a seat across from me, folding her hands thoughtfully. "We're developing a method to reverse aging," she explained. "It combines advanced genetic restructuring with targeted hormonal treatments. It's cutting edge and risky. But if it works," her voice trailed off, or replacing words. "And you want me to help?" I asked, eager but cautious. Her expression shifted, becoming more measured, more serious. "We've reached a phase where observation alone isn't enough. We need a human subject, someone we can monitor closely in a fully controlled setting. I'll be overseeing every detail." She paused, her gaze locking onto mine. "And I trust you more than anyone." After a long pause, my mother spoke again, her voice careful but hopeful. "Everything I've explained so far. I was hoping you'd be willing to take part yourself." The weight of her words settled slowly. I felt the gravity of the choice, the responsibility it carried, but any hesitation was drowned out by something stronger. The chance to work beside her on something this important, something world-changing, was impossible to refuse. "I'm in," I said, my excitement bubbling over. "What's the plan?" Relief flashed across her face, followed by unmistakable pride. "Good," she said warmly. "We'll begin with a controlled sequence of injections and monitor every change closely. I promise, you're safe." The days that followed passed in a blur of preparation. Charts, schedules, long explanations, and consent forms filled our evenings. By the time Monday arrived, my nerves were buzzing with anticipation. When she administered the first injection, her hand steady and precise, I barely felt the needle. At first, nothing seemed different. Life continued as usual. I helped her log data, hung out with friends, and tried not to overthink every sensation in my body. But about a week later, something felt off. Subtle at first. Changes I chalked up to normal growth. After all, I was nearing 17. By the second week, denial was no longer an option. My face looked softer in the mirror. My voice, once firm and low, now cracked and lifted unpredictably. The most startling change was my hair. It grew at an impossible rate, spilling past my shoulders, longer even than my sister's. "Mom," I asked one night, running my fingers through strands that felt impossibly smooth, "is this supposed to be happening?" She studied me carefully, concern flickering behind her calm expression. "It's unexpected," she admitted gently, "but not dangerous. We'll keep watching closely." The changes didn't stop. Body hair thinned, then vanished entirely. My skin smoothed. My frame began to shift, my waist narrowing, my hips rounding, my chest developing in ways I couldn't ignore. Panic finally took hold. "I can't pretend this is normal anymore," I said, my voice noticeably higher. "Something's wrong." Her face drained of color as understanding struck. "We need to stop," she said firmly. "Immediately. But stopping wasn't enough. No matter what adjustments she tried, the truth became unavoidable. The transformation couldn't be undone. The serum had rewritten something fundamental. Standing in front of the mirror days later, I barely recognized myself. The sharp lines of my face were gone, replaced with softer curves. My shoulders had narrowed. My hair fell in glossy waves down my back. Fear surged through me. This wasn't supposed to happen, I whispered. How am I supposed to live like this? She wrapped her arms around me, holding me tightly. We'll face it together, she said, steady but shaken. You're not alone. Tears spilled over. I don't even know who I am anymore. She pulled back just enough to look into my eyes. Maybe you're not losing yourself, she said softly. Maybe you're discovering something you've always carried. Her words stirred something buried deep inside me. A memory surfaced, sneaking into Emma's room years ago, trying on her clothes when no one was home. The way the fabrics felt. The strange, quiet sense of rightness I'd never spoken aloud. For the first time, I let myself consider the possibility that this wasn't only a mistake. Maybe it was a door I'd never dared to open. I took a steady breath. Maybe I can try to accept this. Just see where it leads. She smiled, squeezing my hand. Then maybe it's time for a name that fits who you're becoming. What do you think about Rachel? The name resonated instantly. Rachel, I repeated. It felt natural, like it had been waiting. That's my girl, she said warmly. Later that evening, I told Emma. She stared at me for a long moment, then broke into a grin. Rachel suits you, she said. Thanks, I replied nervously. I might need your help figuring all this out. Her eyes sparkled. Oh, absolutely. I've always wanted a little sister. The next day, she dragged me to the mall, leading the way with unstoppable enthusiasm, and for the first time since it all began, I felt something unexpected bloom inside me. Hope. With Emma's boundless enthusiasm leading the way, we drifted from rack to rack, gathering outfits she insisted would suit me, the new me. Dresses, skirts, soft blouses in colors I'd never imagined wearing filled our arms. Each time I stepped into the fitting room and slipped something on, it felt like another layer of Rachel coming into focus. At first, the embarrassment was impossible to ignore. My cheeks burned as I faced my reflection in unfamiliar silhouettes. But alongside the nerves was a flicker of excitement, something warm and electric that made my heart race. Emma, completely at ease, became my guide. She showed me how makeup wasn't about hiding, but highlighting. Under her patient instruction, foundation evened my skin, blush brought warmth to my cheeks, and mascara opened my eyes in a way I'd never seen before. Just a touch more here, she said softly, brushing color onto my cheeks. And a little gloss to finish. She stepped back, smiling. There. You look beautiful, Rachel. I stared at the mirror, stunned. The person looking back at me wasn't awkward or uncertain. She looked confident. Radiant. Real. Thank you, I whispered. I feel different. But in a good way. Emma wrapped me in a hug. That's how you know you're on the right path. This is about what makes you happy. Over the next few weeks, she stayed by my side, teaching me everything, from how to walk confidently in heels to how posture and presence could change how I felt inside. The self-consciousness slowly faded, replaced by joy and a growing sense of ease in my own skin. One evening, as I adjusted an outfit in front of the mirror, Emma smiled proudly. You've come so far, Rachel. I'm really proud of you. Emotion swelled in my chest. I couldn't have done this without you. For the first time, I feel like this might be who I was meant to be. She hugged me tightly, her happiness unmistakable. Not long after, Mom appeared at the doorway. Her expression held excitement and something deeper. Rachel, can we talk for a moment? My stomach fluttered as I followed her into the living room. She gestured for me to sit and took a careful breath. We've made progress, she said gently. There may be a way to reverse the changes, if you want to return to being Josh. The words echoed in my mind. For a brief moment, the familiarity of my old life tempted me. It had been simpler. Safer. But then I thought of the last few weeks, the support, the warmth, the way I finally felt aligned with myself. Mom reached for my hand. I've also seen how happy you've become. More confident. More at peace. Whatever you choose, I support you completely. I took a steady breath. This has been terrifying and confusing, but also freeing. I don't want to go back. I want to stay Rachel. Tears shimmered in her eyes as she smiled. I'm so proud of you. She pulled me into a tight embrace. Looks like I have 2 daughters now. We laughed together, the tension dissolving into something lighter, hope. That night, the 3 of us sat together, dreaming out loud about the future. Shopping trips, learning curves, new experiences. Their excitement wrapped around me like a safety net. Being Rachel wasn't just about how I looked. It was about finally feeling whole. You're going to do amazing things, Mom said softly. And I'll be right beside you, Emma added. I smiled, warmth spreading through me. I couldn't ask for a better family. Mom leaned back with a satisfied grin. Then let's get ready. This is only the beginning. Emma's eyes sparkled. Step 1, a real wardrobe. The days that followed were a joyful blur, exploring stores, discovering styles, learning self-care rituals. Every step forward felt like a quiet victory. One evening, Mom spoke thoughtfully. This journey isn't just about appearance. It's about confidence, finding your voice, and owning who you are. I nodded, resolve settling in my chest. I'm ready. All of it. She smiled with unmistakable pride. And for the first time in my life, I knew this wasn't the end of a story. It was the beginning of one I was finally brave enough to live.